We're live on another Monday.
We're live. We made it. Another Monday. We had to lug these TVs up from storage, and it took forever, and they're heavy, as you can tell. They're old. So here we are. Anyways, exciting weekend, I think. It's a really weird time in crypto right now for a whole host of reasons. It's a weird time globally, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I think, Ceara, maybe you can kind of do a quick rundown. You're probably
okay. First of all, most of what we're talking about today is just ETH. ETH, altcoins on ETH. Why was ETH predicted to do so well with all its tech upgrades? Why does that seem to be backfiring? Why are people not excited about ETH? Which means that we also have to talk about Bitcoin in comparison, because Bitcoin is sort of up, but is also sort of a store of value, but is also sort of reflective and indicative of the American economic system, which we'll also talk about. Regulatory, legal, VCs. This is really like a broad episode, but I think that's what we need, because the news is so all over the place right now.
Yeah, there's like 10 million things, none of which are super exciting, but all of which help to paint a picture, I think, of the uncertainty that surrounds us. So hopefully we can help overcome some uncertainty, or at the very least, point you in the right direction so you know where to keep going, to keep looking. So let's go. It's freaking good. All right, we're back. We were both not paying attention for that split second, the first time ever. Hey, all right.
It's Monday. It's like super Monday.
It is.
We're not only live today, but we're like grateful to be alive today.
I'm not sure I'm accomplishing anything useful at all today. That being said, Ethereum, there's a lot of talk about Ethereum.
There's so much talk about Ethereum.
You're what? You're so struggling today? Yeah, it's okay. People are used to it.
So I thought, okay, remember when we were talking about all of the upgrades forever and dank sharding, and people were so hot in their pants for all of this, and then the tech upgrades got better, and then suddenly gas fees went down, and now people are fuddy about gas fees going down?
They wanted gas fees to go down, but now gas fees went down. So the article,
tell us some news about this instead of me.
So the article we're talking about is the fact that Ethereum built into proof of stake, not proof of work anymore, made everybody think that it was going to be a perfect scenario. Fees were going to get less, and it was going to be deflationary, and all of this stuff is going to happen. Unfortunately, it has somewhat maintained inflationary right now, because there's not enough activity happening necessarily on ETH mainnet, and with the gas fees so much lower, they're not 100% certain. Critics are arguing right now that the deflationary appeal of Ethereum is diminishing due to these changes. So they fixed one problem and created another, is essentially what's happening. So I mean, there's more tokens being issued now than before because they want to scale. But yeah, it's not quite having the impact of deflationary pressure that they were hoping.
So people are also worried that as L2s continue to grow, which they obviously will, as L2s continue to grow, there's going to be like weird congestion because the L2s will have to settle on mainnet. And they're like, well, this is going to be unpredictable, and maybe we should be scheduling that. And how do we make sure that this doesn't impact like regular L1 users? So some people want things to bypass the L2 and just constantly settle on L1s. That seems like exactly against what all of the tech upgrades were about. If you want to really dive deep into this, Vitalik did an AMA on Reddit like a month ago, and he answers some of this FUD, but also a lot of the responses, I think as it should be, are you're building here, you get to decide what we're doing.
So one final thought on this. We can probably talk about ETH all day.
Sure.
But the whole point of the L2s was to borrow the sound money economics from Ethereum and add it to those chains. The problem is, because of those chains, the ultra soundness of said money and getting the, you know, the scaling down and the prices down and gas down has made it so that ETH is maybe not quite as robust of an asset as everybody thought. Now, it's probably worth noting, this is probably a nothing burger. There's billions and billions of dollars flowing into Ethereum. I normally would be super FUDdy about this, but I'm actually kind of not. I have been impressed with ETH's ability to adjust and pivot based on, you know, speed bumps and hiccups. So hopefully ETH can pull it off.
But now we have to talk about ETH price, because that's also super FUDdy, because it didn't go back up to 3,000 yet, and people are sad about it. Super sad face. But we're also seeing that ETH ETFs are not as popular as everyone expected. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we talk about Bitcoin, that those ones are doing really well. But what's with the ETH price? Is this because of this FUD? Is this because of like the current economic state? Why is ETH so down?
Well, we had like 380 million of sell pressure just from Jump alone. And I don't imagine they turned around and rebought when they thought the market was okay. So, I mean, ETH was very much precipitated. I think that the flash crash of ETH was very much precipitated by Jump. And without Jump buying it back and without any like major catalysts on the horizon, people are going, is this where I want to put more money, or is there a better option? Right. So, I mean, analysts are suggesting that there's an 80% chance that by September it's going to hit 3,000. Wow. That's a profound prediction. That in less than 2 weeks from now, we're 80% sure it's going to hit 3,000. I mean, no one really knows, but I just find this kind of funny. Don't drink all the FUD Kool-Aid.
Okay, one of the other reasons that ETH might not be performing as well as we've seen it perform historically is because other altcoins are also doing really well. I know that you are not super bullish on Cardano, but Cardano's had a lot of good news lately, and their community is really growing, and we're seeing that happen with Solana, I think, too.
Nope, Solana's the opposite.
Solana's dead? Okay.
Solana's dead. No, I mean,
this is the funniest episode ever.
Anybody that knows me knows that I am not a Cardano fan for a whole host of reasons. It's like the biggest vaporware, in my opinion, project.
Not financial advice. Just
created. So I'm only saying that because it's worth noting my bias. I am biased. I think Cardano doesn't deserve to be a top 200 project. It did fall out of the top 10 today or yesterday. Ooh. So not that I'm paying attention or anything, but.
Okay, what about Solana? You FUDdy on Solana too?
Oh, fine. This one's easy. I'm always.
I thought they were getting better. I thought they were having. You remember they had all that presence at ETH Denver and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, Solana obviously has still kind of gone bananas, but now their big thing is scaling. Also, how do they scale? How do they, allow kind of this proliferation of side chains or parallel chains or whatever, shared security? I saw Renzo announced last week that they're supporting Solana from a restaking perspective. That's obviously big news, but.
And then Crypto X blew up with the Solana news. If you have any friends who are Solana maxis, your feed was full of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's still full of it. But I mean, Pump Fun and Radium, like the whole kind of shitcoin bonanza has been what's driving Solana. But as we know, shitcoins come to an abrupt end when there's market turmoil. And that seems to be what happened. So Solana's experiencing record outflows despite obviously most crypto assets are seeing net inflows. I'm not sure this is a huge indication of anything. As the article suggests, it could indicate concerns about their long-term prospect. I don't think so. I think it's just people moving money around to try to, Centurion's got some FUD on Solana too. I have lots of FUD. We could probably do like multiple days. I'm also salty and have been for years. So I probably have confirmation bias. So, maybe we'll have a whole episode where we poo-poo on Solana.
Maybe that's the way you confuse. Okay, so Solana's not doing good. Cardano's not doing good. ETH is doing like weirdly not good. Bitcoin seems to be doing okay, but still hasn't gone up over 60K. But XRP is doing shockingly well because we probably talked about this in early August. But in early August, they decided that XRP is not in and of itself a security. And now we're seeing lots of price action on XRP. So is this because of the legal clarity? Maybe. Is it because they are always launching new products and partners and have, a little bit of political clout? Probably. But some people think that the market cap will reach 9.66 trillion this year. Oh, your FUD face.
Well, I was just rubbing my eyes because I had them in my eyes, and now my face is red. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about XRP hitting into the multiple trillions. I've heard other things saying that there's going to be 35 to 50 trillion of transactions settled on the XRP ledger in 24 or 25. I mean, it's possible. What's interesting, we've been talking about this forever, is while XRP was going through all of this stuff, we reported on this for like 2 years.
Yeah.
That XRP has been in the background doing a lot of stuff with global regulations. So they're in every jurisdiction, acquiring strategic companies and doing a lot of really interesting things. And as a consequence, I think XRP is being considered as a transaction asset more than anything else right now. So if that is the case, obviously XRP is probably poised, probably prepared from a regulatory perspective to start taking advantage of this. They're talking about oil being settled in XRP now. But over the weekend, I don't know if I have an article about this. Over the weekend, some reports surfaced. I don't have an article. Some reports surfaced that they had 1,700 NDAs signed. This came out of court testimony somewhere. That they have 1,700 NDAs with financial institutions, sovereign wealth funds, and governments. It's a lot of NDAs, which to me says they're probably doing some pretty cool stuff that we just haven't heard about yet. So I've never really been a big XRP maxi. I'm not sure that I would hold on expecting 9 trillion in market cap. But definitely some good news. They got out from under the lawsuit. The SEC, it sounds like, isn't appealing any of it.
Which sets good precedent also.
Totally. And I think they're going to go gangbusters, or at the very least attempt to deliver on what they've been building for the last little while.
Yeah.
I think they can do it. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Do you want to talk about the Fed?
God, do I ever love talking about American politics and economy. It's really my expertise at all times. Actually, though, what I think is really interesting is that we are having a Fed speech coming up on Wednesday, and all markets, especially the crypto market, maybe is kind of just waiting. It's kind of just stalled out to see what the Fed says. Are they actually going to lower the interest rate? Like, are they going to keep it the same? Do you have more insight into sort of what that looks like? And do you think that this is actually why Bitcoin is stalling out, or is it kind of unrelated?
No, I mean, I think people were reminded, and rightly so, that Bitcoin can also be volatile. So don't think that it's going to go up only. Time to cut. You're damn right, Ascending Man. We should have cut a long time ago, in my opinion. But now they're saying the risk of a recession in the betting markets is less than 20%. Yeah, Goldman, I think, came out and said that. So I think we're going to see a rate cut. Logic suggests that we should. I was a lot more inclined to commit to that when Japan was having problems, and that came to an abrupt end way too fast, and it didn't shake out the people that I think it should.
It didn't matter at all. It was news one day and dead the next.
Like nothing. By the end of the week, it was nothing, which is like very surprising and probably indicative that it's like anything. You can sweep it under the rug for a certain amount of time, but eventually you can't anymore. And so I'm concerned about the long-term outlook for the markets. I mean, I've been saying this forever. We are in for a world of hurt globally. And although I think the end result of that will probably be net inflows into crypto, because everybody should start to realize, myself included now, I just had my US bank accounts all closed unexpectedly with no explanation and no way to appeal.
So good.
And the only explanation possible, I've banked at the same institution for like 30 years. So the only explanation possible is crypto from Coinbase inflows. So anyways, I mean, people are going to get annoyed with this stuff. They're blocking withdrawals. They're blocking transactions on all these trading platforms. It's only a matter of time. But when the world has economic shocks, so does crypto. So we're not decoupled enough yet, I don't think. But this could be the great decoupling, where everybody's like, forget this trad market nonsense. We're going to join the revolution. So we're here for it.
Here's what I did think was interesting about this theme of news, though, is that Goldman Sachs has reduced the estimated risk of U.S. recession to only 20%.
Yeah.
And to me, news like that is always just trying to appease people. News like that to me reads as, oh, are you worried? Have you seen that things aren't going so well in the financial market? Don't worry. It'll be okay. No,
So
no. It's
what's
really
probably
unlikely
happening?
to actually happen. And like, I'm not trying to decredit Goldman Sachs. Obviously, they know more about risk assessment than I do. But at the same time, it's like, there has to be some FUD built into news like that.
Well, I mean, you got to think of who the source is. If the
Yeah.
source has a vested interest in positive news, then
Exactly.
I mean, Goldman. So, have you ever seen The Big Short?
Yeah.
Over the 2008 financial crisis?
Yeah.
So I think what's happening most likely is they're all sitting around the tables right now going, we have 50 billion, we have 100 billion, we have 500 billion that's all about to die. And right now they're all trying to figure out how to unwind while not inducing mass panic.
Right.
So I suspect that this is very self-serving, although the prediction markets actually back this up, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, if rates come down, which I think they have to because of the US election, like they have to show that the economy is like on fire if there's any hope of people voting for Kamala. So I think they're probably going to cut rates. The quantitative easing started in August, 40 billion a month, I think. I think they're going to try to pump it up, which is fine. It's good for us, hopefully, because crypto should see an exciting move if that is the case. But
okay, do you think any of this will impact? I guess how do you think this will impact VC investment?
Oh, that was a good transition. I like it. How will this impact VC investment? I'm not sure. Like VCs still they've raised more capital than ever before for crypto in the last little while. So, I mean, VCs don't get paid unless they deploy usually. So we're seeing a lot of fairly sizable like Series A's and different things. A good friend of ours at Chaos Labs just announced they closed a $55 million funding round. So I think a lot of VC is going into like later stage projects and not as much into new concepts, which is a little concerning for innovation, but also just a function of uncertainty. I think that if I was a VC, I probably wouldn't be investing in anything right now. Because if the market doesn't go up in the second half of this year, I think we're already in the bear then, if that's the case. So, I mean, but yeah, there's been a lot of VC investments in the first half of the year. I mean, yeah, the first half we had some cautious starts at the start to the year. People were like, I don't know what's going to happen with ETF, yada, yada, blah, blah. It went bananas. VC threw money at anything, infrastructure and or eigenlayer for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And now everybody's just kind of standing around hoping to goodness that it's going to make sense. Obviously, one of the biggest challenges still is the regulations are very hard to understand globally at the moment. And from a venture perspective, we haven't seen any meaningful DeFi investment or on-chain finance investment. And I think that's just because it's impossible to price the risk of that at the moment.
Right.
Like we have no idea what the implications are going to be of regulation on all these DeFi/financial protocols. And that obviously is probably stunting some investment, but a lot of this investment is still happening in the United States. So I think it was 50% of that, something like that.
That's pretty fundamental, especially when we're seeing that other countries are like quickly adopting crypto in different ways. Like read this morning, I think it was Dubai. You can now get paid legally in crypto, your salary.
Yeah, they're talking in the US about redefining money to include digital currencies, which probably has some benefits net long run, but probably also groups us in with all the regulatory overhead of fiat.
Okay, this is a really fuddy episode.
I'm super fuddy, but what I'm actually
any good news?
I'm super fuddy on the nonsense news that's being presented. I don't think it's that bad of an environment. It's just when we're going sideways like this, we all don't know what to do. Everybody just panics because we're used to volatility. When there's none, we all just stand around and try to figure out what the heck is the next move. How do we take advantage of this? So, I mean, hopefully we see something exciting happening. I think the scales are tilted a little bit more towards positive in the second half of the year than negative. So that's good.
Okay. Let's have some good. Let's end on a good news note.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Let me tell you about Australia. The Australian Securities Investments Commission has taken down 600 crypto scams this year. First of all, I don't love that there were 600 crypto scams to dismantle, but how do you feel about them being involved and maybe keeping people safer as we see more adoption?
So this is always a double-edged sword.
I know.
And I'm sure that you probably assumed my opinion on this. I think that regulators are here for a reason, that when there's, when some of these scams are going on and so on, there needs to be someone to point in the direction of enforcement or something. So on one hand, I don't mind that they're investigating, obviously, and that they have, a meaningful process to deal with this. My problem is what they're suggesting they're going to do, and that is advance their own AI and their own like client side requirements and like all this other stuff that just creates a ton of unnecessary burden potentially and friction for using crypto in Australia. So there's a fine line, in my opinion. I think we want regulators here for like those extreme cases when it is fraud, it is theft, it is, negligence of some sort. Like, of course, we want people around for that, but it shouldn't be a massive burden on us. Like the regulators should just be there for when things happen and to make very broad overarching rules about what is and isn't allowed.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid they're going to put in
that they aren't being 100% reactive. Like there's a difference between in Canada, you can go to the RCMP if you've been scammed and trying to dismantle scams before they happen to your citizens. It's like a little bit nanny state, a little bit Costco, but at the same time may be beneficial if they are looking at CBDCs and or onboarding people to XRP and other crypto.
I'm also kind of bearish on Australia in general because they want to become a nanny state. And their original movements towards crypto regulation, we were excited about. Like we talked very positive about it for a long time. And then all of a sudden they went back towards the like government.
Man, we are only going to be FUDdy today. Today is FUD.
You cannot force me to be happy about it.
How do you feel about South Korea?
South Korea is good. I only like this.
Like what's going on?
I only like this because Upbit salaries are now beyond major banks in South Korea. That's not necessarily indicative that South Korea is going to win. I mean, we've had some insane salaries in the space. We saw the same thing with all the Binance, Huobi, like some of these guys everybody was getting paid exorbitant amounts of money. But I think it's also.
I have to say that they are kind of doing that again. So just for reference, the Upbit CEO made 3.5 million in the first half of 2024, which is more than double the compensation of other financial institutions in Korea. Like Citibank Korea's CEO earned 1.54 million in the same period. That said, one thing that I did like about this is that even their entry-level employees are getting raises up to 2.2-fold.
2.2.
It's hard to say, but
yeah, I mean, I don't mind this. I think it all comes down to value creation,
right?
And I mean, if they're creating revenue and enough value, especially on a per head count basis, then I think they should be compensated accordingly. Just because Citibank has 10,000 employees and makes net 100 million in Korea, doesn't mean that Upbit that made 500 million in profit on 50 employees, it doesn't mean that the CEO should be paid less. In fact, it should probably mean that the CEO should be paid more. I think what this highlights and why I'm excited about this, and we can end on this positive note, but what this highlights and why I'm excited about it, I think, is that at some point here in the near future, it's going to come down to, again, people assessing efficiency. How much more efficient can we be if we get rid of this unnecessary middle crap?
Mm-hmm.
And let's look at, now I don't know much about Upbit in general, so this is notwithstanding any opinions on the centralized exchange itself. I don't know. I think all in all, this is good. I think it's just showing that, if incumbents want to play, they got to find ways to be profitable. And here we are, hopefully leading the way. So I think this is positive for me. It's positive because, cool, salaries are high, but I think it's indicative of a larger trend.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. As evidenced by the major banks closing my accounts for no reason.
Oh, you got to end on FUD.
I got
Okay. Monday was a super funny episode. Every Monday we have Go FUD Yourself weekend news roundup. Every second Friday, we have a FUD with Friends episode where we dive into some sort of specific topic or do an ecosystem spotlight. If you want to be featured, reach out. If you have a topic idea that you really want a deep dive into, reach out. We're more than happy to accommodate. JD, what should they do if they want to see us again?
Like, share, and subscribe, and maybe press the bell. Yeah, the little bell helps remind you when we go live, because every now and then we have a surprise episode, or every now and then we maybe don't have an episode. So you should just have the bell on and send some love. You can also send money if you want to send money. You can send money directly to my Twitter.
Merch. You want to send merch? You can send us merch. Send us money.
Hey, I figured while we're at it, we might as well ask.
Yeah, you might as well ask. If you don't ask, you don't know.
Yeah, but joking aside,
do you want
like,
them
share,
to subscribe
subscribe.
to your OF, or like, what are you looking for here?
Say it again.
Do you want them to subscribe to your OF, or are you going to provide your ENS address, or like, what's your plan?
Well, my OnlyFans is feet only, so I don't know. Like, that's kind of not for everybody.
I love that you bend down. I feel like you're gonna bring your foot up with you. I'm really excited.
I don't think I need to bend down to pick up my foot. Wow, this got weird. So, anyways, we'll be back very soon with another episode. And we're maybe going to sprinkle in, like I kind of alluded to a second ago, some more random episodes throughout the week. So let's see how that goes. With that, today I say to you, Ceara, go FUD
yourself.
Later.
With that, I have to say, go FUD yourself.
Go FUD yourself.
Go FUD yourself.
Go FUD yourself.
Go FUD